Friends, today I am going to talk about Trump, his war talk, and the politics of distraction. What if I told you that the loudest headlines in the world today, from war threats to saber rattling with Iran, are not just about foreign policy? What if some of this is designed to distract from something much closer to home? Economic crisis, court battles, political turmoil, even challenges to constitutional norms. Today we peel back the layers on one of the most dramatic political stories of our time. This is Trump, war talk, and the politics of distraction. To understand why leaders use distraction, we must first understand the landscape they are reacting to. In the last few years, American politics have been deeply polarized, and no one symbolizes that more than Donald J. Trump. From controversial elections to impeachment proceedings, from relentless media attention to record inflation and national debt, the country has lived through continuous political storms. Donald Trump faces multiple legal challenges, both civil and criminal, that have captured national attention. These range from business conduct lawsuits to criminal indictments. Every news cycle raises questions about his ability to defend himself in court and the possible consequences of ongoing investigations. This alone is enough to dominate public attention. The economic situation adds another layer of pressure. The dollar's value fluctuates, inflation remains high, and national debt soars. People feel the pinch at the grocery store, at the gas station, and in their bank accounts. Economic stress is incredibly potent, but news about the economy rarely grabs headlines like threats of war do. Social unrest and political weakness compound the situation. Rising protests, frustration with governance, fears about constitutional disputes, and talk of impeachment create an environment where the nation is searching for narratives that are immediate, simple, and emotionally gripping. Into this environment comes an influx of dramatic international headlines. The tense relationship between the United States and Iran dominates news outlets around the world. Strong language, warnings, naval deployments, and political sparring fill headlines. But to understand what is really happening, we need to separate reality from rhetoric. Leaders in the United States have made strong public statements about Iran's military development, nuclear capabilities, and regional behavior. Iran, in turn, has conducted military drills, issued warnings, and expressed firm resistance to pressure. War games, missile tests, and diplomatic friction make headlines dramatic and attention grabbing. Yet there has been no official declaration of war and no full scale military invasion. The language is loud, urgent, and intense because tension and fear drive attention and conversation. The human brain is wired to respond to threats, and fear catches attention far more than calm, dry statistics. Headlines about potential conflict immediately capture millions of eyes, diverting focus from domestic crises. Despite the strong rhetoric, diplomats in Europe, Asia, and the Middle East continue to urge negotiation and de escalation. US officials and Iranian leaders alike emphasize that dialogue and diplomacy remain the preferred course. The dual narrative of loud threats and quiet diplomacy is part of the political balancing act, maintaining the perception of toughness while leaving room for negotiation. Distraction is a powerful political strategy. Leaders throughout history have used external crises to shift attention from domestic problems. Political scientists call this the rally around the flag effect. When people perceive a foreign threat, they tend to unite and support their government regardless of internal disagreements. External threats grab attention instantly. Headlines like President warns Iran, naval forces mobilize, or experts fear Middle East conflict push stories about inflation, debt, or court cases far down the news cycle. Donald Trump, more than many politicians, understands this dynamic. He has built a career in media, creating headlines that dominate because they are unexpected, dramatic, and emotionally charged. When foreign tension intensifies, court proceedings get fewer headlines, economic debates quiet down, legislative scrutiny recedes, and public focus narrows to fear or patriotic emotion. This works politically but is inherently risky. Using foreign tension as distraction works only if it does not lead to real conflict. War has devastating consequences, and pushing narratives of threat walks a fine line between attention and catastrophe. The real impact extends to citizens and families. Constant coverage of potential war causes anxiety about safety, fear about the future, anger at political elites, and a sense of helplessness. This emotional response can reshape public opinion, change voting behavior, and deepen political division. Economic consequences follow. Talk of potential conflict affects markets, disrupts supply chains, and causes fluctuations in the cost of goods. Wars or even the perception of war amplify division within society. Citizens who favor negotiation conflict with those demanding aggression, fracturing communities. Media amplifies this dynamic, prioritizing sensationalism and emotion over accuracy and nuance. What comes next depends on several factors. Diplomacy may succeed, allowing Iran to avoid confrontation, negotiations to continue, and public focus to shift back to domestic issues. Alternatively, a limited incident like a naval clash or misfired missile could trigger brief military engagement with serious consequences. Full scale war is the least desirable scenario, destabilizing the Middle East, disrupting global markets, and devastating lives. Historical precedent shows that war is rarely the first option if diplomacy is possible. Leaders in democratic societies remain accountable to citizens. Courts, media, elections, and public opinion continue to matter. No matter how loud foreign crisis talk becomes, the truth eventually surfaces. Citizens seek solutions, not chaos. In the end, the interplay between domestic chaos and foreign rhetoric reveals a deeper reality about politics. Attention is power. Leaders who can shape what people focus on hold enormous influence but also immense responsibility. War talk, distraction, legal turmoil, and economic strain are all pieces of a larger story about how societies function, how media shapes perception, and how individuals are influenced by forces bigger than themselves. Knowledge is armor. Understanding the dynamics behind what we see and hear allows us to be informed citizens capable of asking better questions, demanding accountability, and pursuing real solutions. Being aware of how attention is shaped helps individuals navigate information, respond thoughtfully, and remain grounded amid chaos. Thank you for watching. The more people understand these dynamics, the stronger our collective voice becomes. Share this knowledge, engage in conversation, and remember that awareness is the first step toward meaningful change.